Hello guys, good evening everyone. Welcome to this pre-departure webinar for European applicants 2019. We're very happy to have you here in the room. Soon I will introduce myself as well as Patricia. First of all, I want to say I'm really happy to see so many of you already in our live webinar session from many different places, as I can see. So we look forward to hearing your questions later. And of course, telling you a lot about Utrecht University and what you can expect in the coming days and when you arrive. So, your crew today, my name is Menno Kramer. I'm part of the international recruitment team.
My name is Patricia. I originally come from Poland and I'm a third year College of Pharmaceutical Sciences student. I'm about to graduate, which is really exciting. Still busy with my thesis, but yeah, I'm happy to be here with Menno today.
Yeah, great. It's of course is an important time for you, and it's also an important time for our students in our chat room. And this is a good moment to remind you all that you can ask questions to us through the chat box. So if you want to ask something, put a message in the chat box, and then we will get the message from our crew in the room, in the recording room, I should say, and they will handle your questions so that we can see them. After the webinar, you will receive a recording of the webinar so that you can rewatch it and review what has been told. So yeah, we've introduced ourselves already, and there's 4 more people that you cannot see, but they're in the technical room in the recording studio. Those are Daphna, Hans, Marcus, and Tim, and they'll be helping to answer your questions. All right, now these are the topics that we will be discussing today during the webinar, and let's jump right into it. Now, before you leave, there are a few administrative steps that you need to take in order to arrange everything related to your enrollment. First of all, if you haven't done so yet, please accept the offer from Utrecht University. So you need to actually tell us, yes, I want to come to Utrecht University and I will be there. You have received an email about this, and that's why that's when you can do this. If there are any conditional offers that you get, if there's any condition in the offer, I mean, then you have to make sure that you meet those criteria before you enroll into the program. You will receive also an email regarding your tuition fee payment. Most of you will have received this. And instead of paying it to us directly, you actually give us a digital authorization, which says you may deduct the tuition fee either in 1 installment at the end of September or in 5 installments as shown on the screen in those months that we're mentioning. And all of this is done, this last step, this is done through StudyLink. Okay, keep in mind, guys, that when you are studying in the Netherlands, you have to have valid health insurance. This can be insurance from your home country, as long as you have an EHIC card, which is a European Health Insurance card, and it looks like the card you see on the screen. It's usually the back of your card that tells you that you are insured. Make sure you carry it around with you, and that you do that before you leave the Netherlands. Now, in terms of financing your studies, most of you will have the European nationality, if not all of you. But if you have a European nationality, then there are no legal limits on how many hours per week you can work. So you are not bound by any specific number of hours that you can work. However, yeah, it's probably a good idea not to work too much, especially if you are in a one-year program. You might need the time to study. How are you working while studying?
I used to have a part-time job. I was in my first year, so when I wasn't really that busy in the lab anymore, because as I already said, I've been studying College of Pharmaceutical Sciences. On the first year, there have been quite some theoretical courses, but then on the second year, I had to spend a lot of time in the lab, so then I quit my part-time job. But it's definitely doable. Right. To get some extra money, and I would highly recommend that.
Okay, yeah. If you want, as a European student, you can also qualify for a Dutch tuition student loan. It's called a loan qualification. So if you work more than 56 hours per month, you can actually qualify for certain benefits from the Dutch government. Keep in mind that this also means that other administrative steps must be taken. Like if you are working as a part-time job, you need to make sure that you have actually what we call a basic Dutch health insurance, which is more expensive than the one that you have from your home country. So keep in mind, if you want a part-time job, it's possible, but you'll have to probably qualify, in almost all cases, qualify for a more expensive insurance. So make sure that you understand the differences there. Okay.
You could also get it reimbursed, right?
That's true.
I'm getting it reimbursed.
There you
for
go.
Instance. Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of the this is one of the things about the Dutch system, is that sometimes you have to pay, and sometimes you will get a reimbursement. So I guess that's really good.
Yeah, I'm getting I would say 90% reimbursed. So I don't really feel that I pay that insurance. It's really convenient.
Great. Okay. Right. So now we're going to talk about the housing market in Utrecht. Probably this is going to be a hot topic for many of you. I hope, of course, that you're all having a good time or having luck finding housing. But as we know from experience in Utrecht, this can be quite a challenge. I'll talk a little bit about the general side, and then I'll ask Patricia to share some of her experiences over the years. So the good news is that around 20% of Utrecht's population are students. That means that there's a lot of student rooms available, and people are moving in and out of student rooms all the time. And there's also more and more international students. But the market is tight. Utrecht is a relatively small city with a relatively large student population. So that means that there are a lot of students looking for housing at any given time. When you're looking for a house, one thing I will definitely recommend is to not just look inside of the city of Utrecht. Because if you are Googling housing for students in Utrecht, you're only going to find the houses that are available in basically those two big dotted circles that you see on the slides. But there's many towns surrounding Utrecht which are relatively close by, which also might offer opportunities for housing, and they're shown here on the screen. Again, a lot of these times are mentioned in cycling times. Cycling is, of course, one of the main modes of transportation in Netherlands, and we'll get into that as well later. Let me ask you, Patricia, how did it go with you for housing, and what would you share about your experiences?
Yeah, I could tell you something from my personal experience. Of course, it was a little bit tricky. It's tricky but doable, we have to mention. I was quite lucky because part of my family lives in the Netherlands. So sadly, I didn't manage to find a room at first, but then I used to live at their place in Den Bosch, which is a city in the south of the Netherlands. Correct? That's
right.
It?
Wow, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but I'm thinking that's actually pretty far away, right?
Yeah, so I had to commute every day,
Yeah.
which was, had to take 2 buses, half an hour and half an hour by train.
Right, okay.
Not the worst thing to do, but after 2 months of living in Den Bosch, I managed to find a room in Utrecht.
Okay, yeah.
I found it privately, just on an actually Polish website.
Okay.
I lived there for a year, and afterwards, important to mention, I had registered for SSH housing. So I was registered for a year, and after around a year, I managed to find a house. To find a house at the SSH place.
Yeah.
Funny fact, we can tell a bit about hospitieravond.
Yes, let's do that. So let me go through these first, and then we can talk about that, okay? Because I've also talked about SSH, and then we can explain that. So these are some of the websites that you might know from your search. This is what they look like, and you can find all the information on housing that is available. These are some that we recommend, but these are not all of the websites that you can look for. There's other places as well, and there's more and more realtors who offer places also on their own websites. But these are definitely good places to look. On our UU website, we have also a section on housing information on the Welcome to Utrecht website. And there's actually a lot of good tips and information if you are struggling to find a house. It might give you some new perspective or some way of looking at the problem differently. So I definitely recommend looking there as well. So here we go. These are some of the tips and tricks that you might use when you're looking for a house. So obviously start looking as soon as possible. If you are not looking yet, please do that. Please make that a priority. Housing is definitely something you need to take seriously. Use your network. So maybe you don't know anyone in Utrecht, but someone you know might know someone who lives in Utrecht, or who lives in one of the or who lives in one of the towns nearby. And in Patricia's case, you went to your family member who lives about an hour away, which sounds like a long time. However, and I don't know if you agree with me, once you are in the Netherlands and once you are established here with a house, whether it's temporary or far away or maybe not so super perfect as you might think, it will make it much easier to find something else, because if you are coming to university every day, you're meeting your fellow students and you're growing your network and you're telling people about your situation, over time you will find someone who knows someone who knows someone, and that's how you can get a more permanent housing solution. So when you find a room, or when you are looking for a room, don't limit yourself to just the perfect options, which are close by and which are not too expensive. Also consider housing that might be a little bit further away, and plan to see if you can make it work with public transport or by bike, and then use the time that you are there to look for something more permanent. That's definitely a tip.
I agree. I think it would have been so much easier if I actually came to the Netherlands and if I started looking. Whilst being here, I was still in Poland, so of course I joined a couple of Facebook groups. I tried to network, made a lot of friends. Right. By the way, that makes it easier if you're already in the Netherlands, and as you said. Yeah. Okay. There's a question from Maite, who says, is it easier to find accommodation once you arrive there? So as I explained, that's that's definitely the case, because you just get into it. You start knowing people right away. During the orientation, you're going to meet so many people, some of them who are in the same position as you are, but also people who can help you connect to more people. So use your network, create a network, and once you're here, it becomes easier. That's definitely a tip. Yeah. Okay. Right. Hospiteren. Yes. Maybe you can explain what that is and how that works. Of course. How do we translate that into English? Hospiteeravond.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. I would say a job interview for housing.
For housing. So a house interview then.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, a house interview. They're really fun. So basically, let's imagine ideal situation. You find a possible flat. You can send a message to a landlord or whatever, maybe you find via a website, and you get invited to a hospitieravond, so a housing interview. There's usually a lot of people invited, so you get to sit in the room and talk a little bit about yourself. Hey, my name is Patricia, I come from Poland. I've been looking for a room for a long time. I'm about to study or start studying. Sometimes it gets a little bit awkward, because it's literally like an interview. And there's a lot of people in a similar situation, so I can imagine it's also difficult to choose someone, right? Because everyone wants to start studying in Utrecht, and probably more than one person is friendly, and it's gezellig, what we say in the Netherlands. Yeah. I myself went to 2 hospitieravonds, and the second one was successful.
Okay, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it can take more times. Yeah, but of course that's something that you can only do once you're here.
Once you're here, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is something that it's typical in the Netherlands, where other students that are living in the house, they pick the next one. And if you want to pick someone to live in your house, it's hard to do that over Skype or over the internet. Yeah. I know that there is instances where that does happen, but it will definitely help if you are. If you are here.
If you're here,
yeah. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to keep the rest of the questions to the end, I've been told, so we'll move on with the presentation for now. Okay. So, traveling to the Netherlands. When you are arriving in the Netherlands, most of you will arrive by train from Schiphol Airport, or sorry, by plane from to Schiphol Airport, and from there you can take the train to the city of Utrecht. It's quite a short journey, also not super expensive. Here you can see how much it will cost, and it's quite often that it runs. Even in the nighttime, it runs once per hour, so you should be okay. Some of you might come by other transportation, by train, for example, and then of course you can go straight to Utrecht train station. There's another airport close by, which might be used by some of you, which is Eindhoven Airport. The journey is a little bit longer, but still quite manageable. Regular trips go about 4 times per hour, and you can take the bus from the airport to the train station, and from there you can take a train. Yeah, maybe you can talk about ESN.
European Student Network, it stands for, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an organization that pretty much organizes a lot of fun activities for students who are coming to the semester abroad or master abroad, half a year Erasmus, it could be. I've been an ESN mentor for 2 years already. Yeah, it's going to be my first time in September. As I said, we organize a lot of fun activities. We start with an introduction day, which is usually a Saturday. It's going to be a Saturday in September as well.
Okay.
We divide students in groups, and last time we went to play pool. The other group went bowling, so we do a lot of fun activities to get to know one another better.
Yeah.
There was also a picture challenge. So there is
What's that?
What's that?
Yeah.
You get a list. You, for instance, we had to take a picture at Tivoli, and a sort of everyone is in the picture. One person is at the zebra crossing or something. Okay. Something crazy. It's a real kind of bonding experience.
Okay, nice.
So that's the first opportunity to make friends. Afterwards, you can also sign up for the introduction week. Then you get divided into different groups, so another chance to meet even more people.
Yeah.
A week full of parties and
good
getting to know people.
Okay, now that sounds like a great organization. And I know that they also have a pickup service from the airport. Right? So if you are arriving by plane to Schiphol Airport, you can contact ESN to have them pick you up on certain specific times during the end of August, when most students will arrive. So what's probably best is if you're interested in this, that you contact ESN. You can find their information on our Welcome to Utrecht website, and from there on you can sign up for this pickup service. Okay. So public transport in the Netherlands is quite well organized. We would say they have a lot of different options, and all public transport is sort of paid for with a OV chip card. This is what they look like. There's an anonymous one, which is blue, and a personalized one, which is yellow. On the personalized one, you can put certain discounts, bonuses, if you will. So this is basically a subscription that you pay monthly for in order to get a reduced rate on train trips, or sometimes even other public transportation as well. You can find more information about this on the website of the Dutch train network if you want to if you're interested in the train discount, which is www.ns.nl. And there's also a good website called 9292.nl, where you can plan your trip from door to door if you're going in the Netherlands. So these are the trains that we have. There's the fast one, which is called the Intercity. They are yellow. And there's a slow one, which is blue, which is called the Sprinter, which is ironically named the Sprinter.
Sprinter. Yeah, it's not the same.
Well, that's what it's called. But obviously, most people in the Netherlands would get around by bicycle, especially for shorter distances. During the introduction day, you can buy a bike for relatively short or for low amounts of cash. Between 50 and 100 euros would be a good price for a second-hand bike. You can also get a subscription to Swapfiets. Swapfiets is a service where you get a bike for a specific fee per month, and then whether the bike breaks down or whether the tire is popped or some other problem occurs, the company will replace the bike and you will get a new one. So you always have a bike, but you end up paying a bit more in the end. So this is kind of how it works. You can also find a lot of bikes on our Facebook group, and Marktplaats, which is the Dutch eBay, is also a good place for that. Okay, let's talk about the arrival stage, because you're all going to be arriving soon. And I'll talk a little bit about the orientation day, and then maybe you can add to that.
I will add a bit, yeah.
Good. So on the 29th and the 30th, there is the orientation day for international students. 2 days of arranging practical stuff like opening a bank account, meeting student organizations, arranging health insurance if you need it. But there's also workshops about living in Utrecht or learning Dutch. You get to meet your mentor groups, and there's also an outdoor barbecue at the end. And of course, the most important part is meeting your fellow international students, because that's, again, a great place to start networking and get going. And you want to add something to that, I believe.
Well, they already met the mentor, because I will be the mentor. Right. And the activities are still a surprise. We're going to have a meeting soon with the board, but yeah, I think you summed it up really nicely. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much orientation day.
Okay, but are you the mentor for all of the international students, or just for some?
I will get a group.
You'll get a group. And how many are in a group?
I have no idea yet. I know there will be around 8 mentors or something like this, so it also depends.
Okay, on how many mentors and how many students. Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, that's so you have met Patricia now.
We might see each other soon.
All right. So for those of you who haven't seen this website yet, this is definitely recommended. It's called Welcome to Utrecht. And we also have an app where you can keep track of the activities during the orientation day, and also has the information on the website included as well. Something about banking. In the Netherlands, we use cash less and less. So most people tend to purchase anything with their debit cards. These are Maestro cards that Dutch people get with their bank account. And this is the main mode of purchasing anything. So cash is becoming less and less accepted in supermarkets, but also other places. It's always better to have your card with you. If you already have a Maestro bank card, you can use the Maestro services in shops. However, we do recommend that you open a Dutch bank account, and we'll talk a bit about that after this slide. Credit cards like MasterCard or Visa are typically not as well accepted as they might be in other countries. Yeah, it might be a cultural thing, I've been told once, because Dutch people are not a big fan of debt or credit in general. But yeah, in any case, the debit card it definitely works better. So with the Dutch bank account, if you choose to open this, you can pay with your Maestro card. But you can also send people that owe you money a tikkie, and a tikkie is basically, hey, we went out for drinks, I bought all of them, so how about you pay half? And instead of having to ask for cash or to wait for it, you just send a tikkie, and they reimburse you on your bank account. But you do need to have a Dutch bank account in order to make this work. Ideal is another way to pay online. Again, instead of credit cards, a lot of payments online if you order something done through Ideal, and this also requires a Dutch bank account. So there are a lot of benefits to having one. If you want to open a bank account, you can do this at the orientation day. There will be someone from the bank present, or there will be a way for you to get in touch with the bank during the orientation day to make an appointment and get the things organized. These are the banks that we recommend. ABN AMRO has a really good student package for about 140 per month, but ING and Rabobank are also good alternatives.
Rabobank is free. I have to.
Is it?
I have a student account. Yeah.
Okay.
It's free.
All right. Now there you go. That's a pro tip right there.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, you do need to get some documents with you when you are going to the bank, obviously. For example, your acceptance form to UU, your registration in your student house, or your address in the Netherlands, and your ID card. So, registering with the municipality. This is something that you also need to do at some point. Everyone in the Netherlands has to be registered in the municipality where they live. So if you do find a room in the city of Utrecht, this white building is the building where you go, which is the city hall, where you can register as a resident. You can make an appointment, bring your passport, and get all that organized. They have a special desk for international students during the busy times, so it will be more convenient for you to make these arrangements. If you are registered in another town, so Zeist or De Bilt or Nieuwegein, for example, then you might have to go to a different city hall. So make sure that you are going to the correct city hall to register yourself in. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll let Patricia talk about student life. All right.
Yes, and slides. Yes, of course. First of all, student life in Utrecht is great. Utrecht never sleeps. I like putting it like this. Here's some important tips. Where can you shop to keep it cheap and tasty? I, for instance, like Albertijn a lot. It's a Dutch brand, right? Mm-hmm. Action would be also a good place. You can get there some kitchen utensils or just utensils in general for very low amount of money. Lidl, some of you might know, it's in Germany as well, I believe, in Poland. IKEA, that's a great place to order your furniture from. Jumbo, just like Albertijn, I would say, a very good place. They have things on bonus, we say in the Netherlands, so just a discount. Every week there is a couple of great discounts, so you can adjust your meals maybe to the discounts. I sometimes do that.
Yeah, I still do that.
You still do that. You're still a student then.
Well, I mean, I live the life of a student.
You live a life. Yeah. Kruidvat. You could get your toiletries at Kruidvat. And Ethos I never shop at.
It's basically, Ethos and Kruidvat are both, let's say, like sort of pharmacies. And Ethos is a bit more expensive, I would say. I would say Kruidvat is better.
So I never go there.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I've just found out. If you're an active person, you could visit sports at Olympos. It's a sports center. You could also you have to register for it, and you get a student sort of an ID. So you can enter the gym, for instance, or join activities like playing volleyball or dancing. I've been there once. By just scanning your card at the door. You can find more information on the website. I believe there must be some link. So they could look up registration, also prices. But it's a very cheap way to do sports for students.
Right. Yeah.
So I could recommend Olympos, and it's also close to it's at the Science Park. So for those who have lectures here, you can go after.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. And some of the other options are there as well if you want to find something else. Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. There's also a cultural center, Parnassos. They have many cultural activities, so you can go and visit some of their shows that they organize, but you can also become a member and take part in their activities as an actor or a singer or a dancer or whatever you want to do. But they also have a really nice bar in the city center, which is actually really good, and they have really fun nights there as well. So if you like that sort of lively, more creative crowds, this is definitely the place for you. Okay, so learning Dutch. As you probably know, learning Dutch is more or less optional. Well, it's completely optional in the Netherlands, but I would say that for a lot of internationals, it's useful to learn some words and to make yourself sort of understood in Dutch. And it can also be a fun experience to learn Dutch, even though everyone in the Netherlands does speak English. So if you're interested in learning Dutch, we do offer some tips and tricks on how to do that. Duolingo is a well-used resource for this, but we also have, which is an app on your phone. We also have the International Neighbor Group, which is usually, I think, more expat community that can also organize sessions where they work on improving their Dutch abilities. You can join them as well. ESN is also the International Cafe.
I believe there is a course provided by ESN.
Right, but do you guys also do the language cafe where you just exchange languages, or is that?
I don't go there to be honest, but I've heard there is language cafe. Yeah, but there's definitely courses. A friend of mine did a course.
Okay. Yeah.
From ESN. But Duolingo is a great option. I also start with Duolingo every day, one lesson, some basics.
Yeah.
there we go.
How do you find the Dutch language? Like in terms of, is it difficult to learn?
I don't want to brag, but out of all of the languages that I've learned, Dutch is the easiest.
There you go.
And it's really fun to learn a new language. So I have learned Dutch. I started with Duolingo, as I said, then followed a quick course, 9 months, once a week.
Okay.
But I speak German, so it was much easier for me, I
Right.
believe, to pick up Dutch.
Yeah, but it's also quite similar to English, right? So I think
That's
like
also true.
you speak English and a little German, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we meet in the middle and then.
Yeah, exactly. Quite literally.
Yeah.
All right. Food. Yeah. These are some of the Dutch food that you can expect. I mean, these are all really like sort of snacky foods, so they're not necessarily something that you would eat every day, but it does give you an idea of some of the snacks that we like. My personal favorite is the kaas soufflé, which is basically just a deep fried cheese stick. So it sounds not so nice, but if you're out on a town and you've had a few, then it can really be tasty. But do you enjoy these Dutch snacks, or are you?
I do after a night out, yes.
Okay.
And I love stroopwafels and oliebollen, bitterballen as well. But
And what about the raw fish, the haring?
not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. But I love the rest. Okay, I love the cheese.
Okay.
The more cheese, the better.
Good. You can't have it all. All right. Oh, and for those who don't know, we like eating a lot of bread. We are very bread. Well, bread is eaten a lot. I think a common complaint of international students is that Dutch people eat breakfast for lunch. Yeah. So bread can be taken as for lunch. Yeah. But of course, there's a lot of opportunities to eat a warm lunch if you buy it in a restaurant or in a shop on campus. So you don't have to stick with this, but there will be a lot of healthy, let's say, bread-based options available. Okay, so the weather. We've experienced quite long and dry summers. Weather is definitely changing as it is everywhere in the world, so we are no different. However, rain it does rain a lot in Netherlands, and more it is heavy rain, so short and heavy rain. That means that you need to be aware, or it's nice to be aware of upcoming rain showers. And we have an app for that called Buienradar, and you can see it there on the screen. It basically tracks the clouds and the rain as it moves across the country. So you can calculate when is it okay to go on my bike, and when should I maybe wait 10 minutes if I can, in order to avoid a shower. In the Netherlands, we would say there's no such thing as bad weather for biking. It's only that you have the wrong clothing. So that means that typically Dutch people will bike rain or shine. But again, having some information on it will definitely be helpful. And I don't think we will judge you if you don't want to bike through the rain. Do you bike through the rain?
I do, yeah.
There you go. Okay, bicycles, definitely part of Dutch culture, as you probably know by now. There's bike paths everywhere. You can go across the whole country if you want on a bike. We also have something called borrels, which is another great way to meet people and to network. Borrels are basically events that happen after you're done studying, or if you are part of an association, they will organize borrels in the evening, or after you play a sports activity, they can be organized. Borrels could be organized, and this is basically having a drink, having a bite to eat, like a snack thing to eat, and mingling and meeting new people. So again, if you're looking to build your network, especially in those early days, borrels, I think, are a great way to kind of integrate yourself with more people and to make friends or more connections. Gezellig, maybe you want to explain what gezellig is?
Oh, that's this word that cannot be translated to English,
right,
as one might say. Cozy, kind of. A great atmosphere, having fun with friends. Then you could say in the Netherlands, oh, it's really gezellig. For instance, at a borrel, you can hear that quite a lot. Oh, gezellig with your colleagues, co-workers.
Yeah.
Over beer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very common used word, and again, it's about having a fun time in a group setting, basically. You'll figure out the more intricate meaning when you go on. Another thing is that if you are saying goodbye to a friend or someone who you are maybe a little bit closer to, sometimes in some countries you would give one kiss on the cheek. In the Netherlands we give three kisses, so left, right, left. So keep that in mind. If you find that the other person is still having their cheek out for the third one, then you know that that's because the Dutch do it that way. Birthday congratulations, that's always a fun one. In the Netherlands, if you ever go to a Dutch birthday party, you have to congratulate everyone at the party with the birthday of the person whose birthday it is. So if I'm going to your birthday party, I will say happy birthday, congratulations. Yeah. Then I will turn to your guests and I will say congratulations on Patricia's birthday, congratulations on Patricia's birthday, and that's how I go around the room. This is a very weird cultural thing. I don't know, have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, I found it odd because I said to someone in the lab, oh, it's my father's birthday. Oh, congratulations. And I thought, it's my father's birthday, not mine, but it's a thing, yeah.
Exactly, this is exactly it. Yeah, so you can congratulate people on other people's birthdays. King's Day is the national holiday. Everyone dresses up in orange, and you can see a picture here on the screen. That's probably from Amsterdam, because Amsterdam is usually the biggest festival. Everybody goes on boats on the canals and has a great time. But of course, these celebrations also happen in Utrecht and in basically every city and town in the Netherlands on that national holiday. Dutch can be quite direct in their communication, so depending on your cultural background, it can be considered sometimes even a bit rude. Just know that it's not meant to be rude. Dutch people appreciate honesty and directness above many other things, so they would much rather be honest with you, even if it might hurt your feelings a little bit, than beat around the bush and tell you a nice thing that they don't actually believe in. So if this ever happens to you, then yeah, make sure to see it as a form of honesty on their part, which in Dutch people's minds is a good thing, and it's not because they're trying to be mean or disrespectful. Have you had any troubles with this type of cultural difference, or?
No troubles so far, but it's very true, directness and honesty. But I kind of like it. It's better than talking behind someone's back.
Right.
So I don't mind it, but maybe it's also a cultural thing for me.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on. We can talk about this for more, I think, but let's keep going. Okay. These are some Dutch words that you can practice. Most of them are common phrases that you can use when you are at the supermarket or if you are hanging out with people that you are making friends with. There's also some useful words there, so you can look that up as well. How many of these have you learned already in Duolingo?
Oh, Duolingo. All of them.
All of them, right?
Sure, but yeah, maybe not the bag one, which would be quite
Oh,
useful.
yeah, tasje erbij.
Yeah, tasje erbij.
Yeah, because I think, to be honest, I think they stopped that because it's bad for the environment to just hand out bags.
Oh, yeah.
So I think now you have to ask.
Now I have to ask
exactly. It's sustainable. There you go. Okay, so guys, this is the final checklist that we're going to run through with you, and then we'll move it over to the questions. If you haven't done so, confirm your place at the university. Pay your tuition fee, or in your case, in most of your cases, give off the digital authorization for the collection of the tuition fee in StudyLink. Bring your passport, write down the accommodation where you're going to stay in case your phone dies, for example. Bring the right clothing, also for maybe biking in the rain. If you don't, you can buy it here, but just keep that in mind. Plan your trip with public transport also in advance so that you don't have to do it when you arrive, in case, of course, you are not taking part in the ESN pickup. Of course, join the orientation day. That's a great place to start. I really can't recommend that enough. Schedule an appointment with the municipality to register once you are here. And also make sure that you open a bank account so you can pay for all your things. There's also a student service desk that I would like to point out, which is located on the campus. They're open daily, and you can go there and basically ask them any question that you have regarding your stay here or any formality with the university. They might not always have all the answers themselves, but they will always be able to refer you to a person who will be able to help you, or an organization that you need, or other part of the university. So it's really a good place to just put all your questions, and they can help you further. If you are not doing so already, please consider following us on Instagram at Utrecht University, so you can stay updated and inspired with all these beautiful pictures. And that's it. That's the question time. So far already, thank you all for paying attention. I hope that you are finding it useful. We're going to answer a question from George Hardia. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he asks, are MasterCard debit cards, so not credit cards, usually accepted in stores, etc.? I would say no. The Maestro credit cards, the Maestro debit card is definitely the way to go. Even if it's a MasterCard debit card, you might find that in many places it's still not accepted. I would not sort of bank on this option to happen. I know that some people have, for example, Visa Electron, and Visa Electron is basically also, I think, the same thing. It's like a debit card from Visa, and they have many problems getting it accepted. So the answer is probably no. Yeah. Matthew asks, how easy is it to register with the municipality, banks, and public transit? Okay, so it's not hard to register with the municipality. You really only have to make an appointment to go there. However, you can only do this after you have found a room where you can stay in the Netherlands. Of course, if you don't have a room yet, or you don't have a permanent room yet, this registration cannot yet take place. Don't worry too much about the municipality registration, because it's not as if they will kick you out of the country if you haven't registered in the first 2 months or so. But just know that once you find a room, that on your to-do list is register with the municipality so that they know that you're living there. Yeah, okay. Banks, the same. You can only open a bank account after you have registered with the municipality. So first things first. And public transit, yeah, you can get an anonymous OV chip card, which you can use for all public transport, basically on the day you arrive from the airport or from any major train station. So you don't need to go through much trouble. If you want a personalized card, it's also done either at the train station or online. So not really a big deal, I would say.
No, I think I waited maybe 2 weeks for a personal one, because you have to upload a picture, you do it online.
Right.
Then they send it to your address. So yeah, first you have to find a room.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Start
Again.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with that. Okay. And then Peter Tosher. I'm so sorry, guys, for mispronouncing all of your names. Asks, how long does it take to open a bank account? It takes, I think, about 2 weeks. Also, I think it's.
You know, I can't remember. I remember making an appointment. I think I called them.
Yeah.
Made an appointment, came up with my ID. Yeah, I already had a room. Difficult question.
I think that it's more
quick.
It's more or less a formality. Once you have all the the right documents, it's a matter of a short amount of time. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Again, keep in mind, if you don't have a bank account for a few weeks, is not the end of the world. You can still manage it, but make sure that once you're able to get it, definitely get it. So it will make your life easier. That's it. Yeah. Nicole asks, would you say it has been hard making friends at the beginning? I think that's a good question for Patricia.
True. Not at all. If you're an open-minded person, I think it's pretty easy. But I also personally find it easy to get along with people. So I think we had an intro camp for my study association during the first week of my studies, and then I already made a lot of friends. Not a problem at all. Dutch people are fluent in English. If you don't speak Dutch, no problem. They would be happy to talk to you anytime.
Right. And would you say that is it easier to make Dutch friends or easier to make international friends?
International at first, but once you live here for a while, then maybe you have more things in common with Dutch people as well. And,
okay.
But internationals, yeah, it's also always kind of easier. Oh, what's your experience? Where are you from? Why did you choose to come to Utrecht?
Right.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Last question.
I'm trying to see if there's any more questions on our list. I think for now we'll leave it at that. Thank you all very much for attending. It's been our pleasure to host this webinar, and we hope that you learned a lot. Again, make sure that you review the webinar once we send it to you by email, and I hope to see you all very soon in Utrecht.
Hope to see you in September. Good luck.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.